under Oisin Murphy. Danielle, the last in. We might take the long way to the rest of us. They're off, racing for the Qipco British Champions Fillies Mares Stakes. And away from the stalls at the 1.5 mile starting point, and Ballet Slippers into an early lead. On the inside, Quisisana is being restrained. Kalpana going into second. Then We Might Take the Long Way in the light blue jacket. The grey Estrange on the inside then of Wardar. Bedtime Story further back with Danielle. And at the rear of the field is Latakia as they run down the hill towards Swinley Bottom. Ballet Slippers skipping along in front by a half length to last year's winner and favourite to win again, Kalpana in second. Quisisana is third, followed by We Might Take the Long Way. Then Estrange and Danny Tudhope on the inside of One Look in the red cap. Wardar Yellow Jacket out wide at Bedtime Story. The last two Latakia on the outside of Danielle. Into Swinley Bottom, swinging right-handed and on their way to the 7 furlong marker. And it's Ballet Slippers that leads, tracked all the while by Kalpana in second. Quisisana is back in third, followed by, then in the light blue, We Might Take the Long Way. Estrange, One Look, Bedtime Story, Wardar, Latakia, Danielle. Up the hill now and about to race past the 6 furlong marker, and now racing on towards the 5. Ballet Slippers and Wayne Lorden by a half length to Kalpana and Colin Keane. Quisisana is third on the inside of We Might Take the Long Way. Estrange is held up on the inner behind these alongside One Look. Then a length and a half to Wardar and Bedtime Story, and still at the back Latakia and Danielle. They're about to run into the final half mile and approaching the home turn. And still Ballet Slippers sitting pretty in second is Kalpana at the moment. Quisisana on the inside. We Might Take the Long Way. Estrange goes well, might need an out, being held in by One Look. Then Wardar travelling well as well, lots with chances as they swing the corner. Ballet Slippers and Kalpana. We Might Take the Long Way. Quisisana. Estrange is having to fight for a bit of racing room and did so there, angling out into One Look. Down the home run, he says go on Kalpana. Here comes Estrange now, charging down the outside of We Might Take the Long Way and Quisisana, but Kalpana has skipped 4 lengths clear. Estrange is trying, so too is Quisisana, but Kalpana is not for stopping and is not for catching, and she backs up in the British Champions Fillies Mares. Estrange second, then Quisisana, and late headway for Bedtime Story.
Annalisa Baldy is with us. Kalpana winning the Fillies Mares for the second time, which is fantastic.
Absolutely delighted. We were thrilled last year, we're even more thrilled this year.
Yeah. Because of the fact that she went to France and maybe didn't perform to her best that day.
And you know, it's always, you know, when you go with such high expectations, it's always disappointing however well they run. Yeah. You know, actually, she came back from France and she was really well straight away, and Andrew was very quick to think, look, if she's got nothing wrong, there's no reason for her going again to Ascot. You know, I think the more you look back at that run at Ascot, the draw played a big part, and she was brought very wide and she didn't have a great run into the race. I think it was the perfect prep run.
Yeah, for here it certainly was. She clearly loves Ascot as well, doesn't she?
Yes, as we all do, and I think we've got 40 lads here today, so there's a lot of cheering up there.
And Lisa, you may not know the answer to this question. Would that be, that's not a swan song, is it? Would she carry on, do you think?
I honestly, it genuinely has not been decided, and I've just been talking to someone now and they're asking why shouldn't she carry on, and you know, when you see a filly enjoy racing as much as she has in a crowd that loves seeing horses like that, you know, why not?
Go for the treble.
Yeah, exactly.
Well done.
Thanks very much.
Colin, that was the real Kalpana there. What a performance.
Yeah, great performance. Look, she's been very consistent all year. Things maybe didn't go to plan the last day in France, but fair play to Andrew and the team for making the call to bounce her back out so quick. And if you've seen her in the parade ring before, and you wouldn't think she ran in France a couple of weeks ago, she's a filly that thrives, I think, on her race, and so it was brilliant. Did you know from an early part of the art that it wasn't going to be her day that day? No, to be honest, obviously we were drawing a little bit out there, and I tried to keep it smooth. At the bottom of the straight I thought I was going to run a nice race, and for another reason she just levelled off and we weren't hard enough from then on, so thankfully she's bounced back today. And no real moment of doubt here today, all pretty smooth sailing? I think so, yeah. Wasn't a lot of pace on paper, so we wanted to keep close to the pace, because we know she gets the trip well, and she likes it around here. Fantastic. Well done. Thank you. Thank you.
Just too good. Kalpana has won, has given Andrew Balding another Group 1 victory. And Colin Keane has steered her to success in the Silks of Juddmonte. She was 130 last year. She was 11-8 this year. Favourite both times. It never looked in any doubt. Estrange was briefly short of room, rallied, but was never going to get there. She's run well in second on ground that would have been plenty quick enough. Quisisana was behind Kalpana in the arc. She's 2 places behind her again here. The form makes sense. The winner makes sense. And that makes her season a really good one.
Yeah, from a 200 to 1 shot 35 minutes ago to straightforward race assessment in this instance, Nick, it does make absolute sense. It was uncomplicated from Colin Keane. He knew that he was on the best filly in this field. He sat prominent. He knew what he wanted to do straight out of the gates. He got her across, took the lead from Ballet Slippers. They were going just an even gallop, and he was comfortable with that all the way through the race. She quickened off the bend, opened up very quickly, a dominant lead that was unassailable.
The pace was not searching early. Kalpana just attended Ballet Slippers. And to get her back in form is everything to this team who've looked after her, because they'll have been disappointed at Kempton. High hopes for the Arc, which she was favourite for most of the year, but she's come back here looking right on point.
Yeah, absolutely, and there'll be a feeling. I mean, the Arc was a complete Horlicks of a race for her, really, wasn't it? The draw didn't help. She was stuck wide. It was just she had a bad trip. She had a horrendous trip around there, and had she had a better draw, it was a massive draw influenced race obviously this year, the Arc, then who knows what might have been, because she's a filly with loads of ability, and we've seen her on this day with that calibre of performance yet again. And the reason the form makes sense is the second and third horses as well. We've got Estrange in second, who has run possibly the race of her life to get within a few lengths of Kalpana, with another Group 1 winning filly in Quisisana back in third place as well. So that suggests that amongst her own sex at least, Estrange can win a Group 1 at some stage in time. The ground would have been lively enough for her as well probably, but she has acted on it, and I think she has produced a personal best in second spot, but she was never getting near Kalpana.
Yeah, the time's confusing here, because if that's right, 2:32.52, which it says over my right shoulder, we'll have to confirm that, then that's a slow time relative to what we've had already today. If you compare it to times run on this conventional outer course, Simple Verse ran 2:32.01 in 2015, and Dancing Rain in 27 ran 2:27.29, and you'd have expected it to be more in line with the Dancing Rain time based on what we've had so far today from the 3 races. It does suggest that the pace may have been quite pedestrian.
Yeah, potentially. We'll get confirmation of that.
Yeah, we need that time confirmed.
Yeah, the guys in the studio will be able to have a better, stronger look at the sectionals as well. But I think, to me, watching it live, it looked like an even gallop, not a strong one early. Estrange was one of those that was fighting for her head. Quisisana was probably just a little bit keener than ideal. So I certainly don't think they went hard. It was, and Kalpana was always very well positioned, close to an even tempo. But there's the point where Estrange pulls out for a run. She just gives a nudge to one look on her outside. Danny Tudor was angling to get off the inside earlier, really, wasn't he? But it just couldn't happen. From stall 1, it's difficult to get around horses, and he was locked up for as long as he could be, really. But once it opened up, he wanted to come out. He did so, but she's galloped on resolutely to the line. She's very genuine, Estrange, and she's handled the ground, but she ultimately wasn't good enough, was she, to lay a glove on Kalpana.
Don't forget, Andrew Balding is in the mix for this Trainers' Championship as well. That's 300 grand plus back for him, and he was about 600 grand behind Aidan O'Brien coming into today. Aidan's won the 2-year-old race, but Andrew's loaded up for the rest of the afternoon with Never So Brave and Almeric, a Marble Man, Fox Champion. They've all got bits and pieces of chances.
Without a doubt, they have.
And he'll be rocking and rolling all the way to December the 31st as well.
Just looking in behind, Bedtime Stories run another sound race in defeat, hasn't she? She's just found her 3-year-old season a little bit tricky, but it was a good run from her again in defeat.
Probably worth mentioning the man on board as well, Colin Keane.
Sucked his strike rate at Ascot that everybody's been talking about anyway.
This is it. Ever since he took over the job as first jockey, he seems to have attracted sort of adverse comment, where before all he was attracting was positive comment. It's a ultimate Statler and Waldorf assessment of his career, but
finishing speed percentage there suggests that it was a modest gallop.
They've absolutely crawled round, haven't they?
Yeah,
they really have.
Modest gallop, and that underlines the point that it was steadier than maybe it appeared initially. I mean, I didn't think they'd gone hard, but I certainly didn't think they'd gone as slow as that. So that suggests that it was, as you say, a steady pace early on. And Kalpana was in prime position.
Exactly. Yeah, leaving nothing to chance.
Still the best filly in the field anyway, Nick. I think not dependent on tactics.
Just best horse wins race in that. But if the pace is going to be pedestrian, then best that the jockey on the best horse sits close to it. It looks as though they went steadier through the first 9 furlongs there than Trawlerman ran the same distance in the long distance cup. Race IQ telling us. There you go. Back at Ascot in a few moments.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.